what opportunities that you see that your current employer is not letting you advance. If it's a real opportunity, you can put a dollar figure on it, there's value you can bring to someone else, that might be your business proposition. Welcome to the latest episode of Commerce and Chill. I am Jessica Johnson Cope.
I'm Waleed.
Hi, Waleed.
Hi, Jessica.
What's good?
You asking me what's good. You tell me what's good. You've been missing in action for 3 days.
I was not missing in action. I was missing in power.
Oh, okay.
So
missing in power. What does that mean?
I am back fresh from the Fortune Most Powerful Women Summit in Washington, D.C. Why you do your eyes like that?
Wait, you got invited to the Fortune Most Powerful Women Summit that happens, what, once a year? They have it?
Once a year.
Wait, I didn't get an invite. Like, I didn't. They didn't even send me a T-shirt.
And it's in line with the Fortune Most Powerful Women issue. So Fortune magazine, we hear the Fortune 500.
The Powerful Men of Micro Business Forum.
That's a good one. That's a good one. But technically, you're not a micro business. So Fortune ranks the most powerful women in business.
Soapbox.
That's not a micro business.
The soapbox?
That's not a micro business.
What do they consider micro business? What's micro?
Micro is like you and your house baking cookies.
Nah, okay, but anyway.
Fortune,
powerful women.
Most powerful women. So
powerful woman.
I had the opportunity to be
clearly like there was no fringe chair.
A part of the summit, and to really be empowered by being around some tremendous women who have accomplished a lot, both in business and personally, and are leading the charge in business. So for today's topic, we're going to talk to you about running a woman-owned business, fostering a community of women leaders. But I want to kind of do a mashup. I want to talk about how do we build a culture of women-led businesses. So it's important for women to own our own businesses. It's also important to put women in positions where they can lead organizations regardless of whether or not they're women-owned. And a good example would be at the soapbox. The person who's responsible for day-to-day operations is...
Shout out to Sean Harvey, who also just came off a 3-day hiatus. Were you both at this conference? Like, now that I think about it, you both were gone the same amount of time.
No comment.
We're going to have to have a meeting this weekend at the box. We need to figure this out.
So tell me about Sean in her role at the soapbox and what works with her being a woman in leadership.
I don't want to say what works with her in leadership as a woman. Mm-hmm. It's who she is.
Okay.
And she's good at what she does.
Yes.
Hopefully she's not watching this episode because I don't want her head to get blown up, or she sees the micro content on Commerce and Chill. Mm-hmm. She's good at what she does, and she happens to be a woman. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say just because she's a woman that makes her that much better at what she does. I'm sure there's probably some, I don't know, genetics that are involved in women and some statistics about what women are better at than men. Mm-hmm.
But we've had a male manager at the store before.
Yeah. Listen, it's mindset. Mm-hmm. She's super dedicated. She's super focused. Mm-hmm. She's about taking care of business. Mm-hmm. She drives me crazy, but that's part of the job.
Who doesn't drive you crazy?
She's supposed to do it. You don't.
Good answer. Good answer. I
just got a like. No, I mean, like, she's focused on it. She does what she has to do. She takes it seriously. And I can probably just repeat the same stuff over and over, just using different words. Mm-hmm. But it's dedication. It's seeing the opportunity for what it is and what it could be, and then putting your all into it. And then giving that feedback too, and receiving feedback to make these adjustments and to make things better as a team, not just as a person. Yeah.
So I like what you said about seeing the opportunity for what it is and what it could be.
And she sees the opportunity. Like she just brought it to me the other day. Like, okay, so can we get investors in the soapbox? Like, are you willing to take on, partners and take, outside money? And I'm like, yeah. And what fashion? Like, what do we want to do? So yeah, sorry.
So I'm glad you said that. Well, I'll come back to that. But seeing the opportunity for what it is and what it can be. From my experience working in corporate America, sometimes women don't always get the same opportunities. One, because they're not aware that those opportunities exist. Or number two, they might know that they're there, but they don't have access to the networks. They don't have access to the resources that will put them in a position to obtain those positions and those opportunities. And so if you are in corporate America, it's not just about hiring women. It's about hiring women and putting them in a position where they can excel and grow through the organization, helping them to understand what different career paths look like, helping them to visualize themselves in some of those positions, and then creating a culture that is supportive with mentors, sponsors, and advocates so women can see people in those roles and the skill sets that are required to successfully operate in those positions. I was talking to one woman whom I won't name, but she's the CEO of her organization. And I said, well, why did you leave this? Because she worked at a phenomenal organization. I said, why did you leave to come to your current position? She said, because I was the CFO, Chief Financial Officer, in my last firm, and I knew I didn't want to be a CFO forever. However, she had stayed where she was. There wasn't much room for growth for her there. So even if you're not in corporate America, even if you're in your own business, you have to understand what opportunity looks like and what opportunity dead ends look like. So it might sound great to be the Chief Financial Officer, but if you know you have greater aspirations and where you are won't let you get there, then you need to change. If you're a business owner and you know that you're only getting so much business from a certain client, then maybe you need to look at other clients in that same space or different industries so that you can grow your business into what you want it to be and not hit that opportunity dead end. You talked about Sean Harvey mentioning, well, we should take on some money, some investors.
Oh yeah, she did.
I had the great opportunity to meet Melissa Bradley. So Melissa Bradley is a true boss, GOAT in the startup investment world. She's a professor at Georgetown University. And I was talking to her about the soapbox, in particular about our sneaker cleaning business. And then she said, well, do you understand what it's going to take to scale?
Yeah.
Now,
it's going to take a lot more brushes and hands.
Of all of us seated here at the table, I know the least about the sneakers.
Because we only clean by hand.
I know the least about
no machine washing of your sneakers.
No, we're not doing like back in the day.
You do not want your retro J1s in the washing machine.
No, do not put your
You don't want your
J1s.
Travis Scotts put in the washing machine.
Moment of silence for the dead Travis Scotts.
Do not want them in a washing machine like some of those other places do. And
so in our conversation, it wasn't just a matter of, do you know how do you get more money? But really, how do you build a model? How do you build a foundation and systems so that you can not only get more sneaker cleaning business, but you can corner the market? She's like, I got a market. Get your husband on the phone with me. We're going to have this conversation, mash it up, and we're going to scale the soapbox in your sneaker cleaning. Well, so watch out. Coming soon to you.
I got to go. I got to go take a phone call then.
Sneaker cleaning in your neighborhood. So
to every neighborhood. If you got feet, we clean them. Oh, wait a minute. No, you got sneakers, we clean them. I said, if you got feet, we clean them.
If you have feet, we clean your sneakers.
No, we don't do pedicures and manicures. Sorry, we don't do that. We clean sneakers. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, that's awesome.
Right, and then when we look about opportunity, sometimes it's the opportunity to leverage what you have and take it other places. Right. So I was traveling with one of my friend Saudia. Shout out to Saudia Davis. And so Saudia is in a new space because she recently,
she exited.
She made an exit. And she made an exit on her terms, on good terms.
Right.
So she's trying to figure out what's next. And so she spoke to
I
several
should say she
women.
exited her business. Let me not just say exited.
She exited the building. She talked to several women in attendance who had gone through different corporate positions, who had worked for different startups, and who had started their own businesses. And so sometimes we don't realize that the experience we get in one place, if we outgrow that place, we don't necessarily outgrow the experience. We can take that experience and put it to work for something for us. So that comes back to women-owned businesses. What opportunities that you see that your current employer is not letting you advance? If it's a real opportunity, you can put a dollar figure on it, there's value you can bring to someone else, that might be your business proposition. That might be the opportunity for you to learn and grow on your own and understand that the dynamics are shifting, that more than 50% of the population are women. Oh, what we're seeing is this revolution. Women are getting more degrees than men.
So that means we're dumbing down and women are smartening up.
Well,
I'm just saying that in general because you just said they're getting more degrees. That doesn't necessarily mean that.
It doesn't necessarily mean that. I mean, women are still at a disadvantage when it comes to pay equity. We get paid less than men for the same services, the same skill sets, the same whatever. And like the conversations that I had at the Most Powerful Women Summit just brought that to light.
So what would you say some of the challenges either you face or you've heard other women leaders or women-owned companies that they face that they like wish, I guess we'll say men like knew or didn't do in reference to these women-led businesses? So
I had several conversations with members of the Salesforce team, and with one particular friend, hey, shout out to Jess Ross, we talked about how as women, especially women in leadership roles, people always want to put us in a box. And sometimes men in leadership don't feel comfortable unless they can find that specific box to put you in. If they can't put you in a box, they don't know where to put you, so they don't provide you with the same opportunities that they would to men.
Okay.
And I can say I can agree with that, because like I'll go to meetings and you may have heard people say this before, like, oh my gosh, I've never met anyone like you. You talk so well. And
what? How are you supposed to speak?
As my mother would say, a hubba.
Right.
I guess that's what they expect to come out my mouth. Like, and it's like, wait, what? Like, what again? What were you expecting? And
well, because someone has painted a picture in their head based on what they saw or heard of either you, your business, or what they perceive of women in general or women of color. And that's what that box that you're talking about that they painted in. And I think it's not just women. There are people who do that in general across the board.
Yes.
But if we look at particular groups, the women, I don't know what the stats are, but I'm going to say they're one of the hardest. They get hit. They're a hard hit group when it comes to being painted in a box or pigeonholed into whatever it might be, that someone has these preconceived notions. Or what you smiling about? Because
I just had like a very recent situation. So you may have heard we're bidding on some work with a public agency. We got a team. We got a strong team, because in the documents it said you have to have a team. You have to have this kind of business, to subcontract to, and this other kind of business to subcontract to. So while I'm yet at the Most Powerful Women's Summit, I get a call from one of our competitors, and the representative says, well, we're bidding on this work, and they
want you to be a sub.
Yeah,
they want you to be
would you consider being a sub? Yeah, I would consider being a sub, but give me the context. How did you get to this point, and you're just trying to determine?
Because let's be clear, if the documentation says the RFP, let's be clear, says have a team where you're the prime and you have a sub team because they want you to sub out to work to empower other businesses, and you're already in the process down the road where they're having second looks or bringing people back.
They're doing their due diligence and you didn't do diligence.
Right. So if you're at this point and you're just saying, hey, would you be interested in being a... Basically, you're just thinking of me after the fact. Right. And you're just going through the motions to say, they told me I had to do this, so I'm just reaching out to you because they told me I got to check this damn box. But you really weren't trying to put the effort in to build a team and have people on a team to win it, because some people, some entities, some agencies who have allowed this to go on for so long, people get into the mindset at these businesses where I'll just hire anybody to be my sub and you just sign the paper and then we're just going to act like you're doing something. Right, and then here's a couple coins where we're like, oh, it doesn't roll like that here at JSB because we self-perform everything. If we're a prime, if we're a prime, but if we're, well, I not even say obviously, because I know some people who are primes and they sub a bunch of stuff out and they just sit back and pocket the difference.
Right.
But we self-perform everything. So for them to reach out to you this late in the game, it's not because they truly, and this is just purely my opinion, somebody put the damn disclaimer at the bottom, that they weren't truly looking to build a team.
No.
They're just looking to do it because they've gotten so far in the process, close to the finish line, and somebody came in and said, hey, you didn't check this box. And then they were like, well, let me just go randomly find somebody.
Let me just dial for dollars. Let me just call and see who
Would you do it? Would you? Okay, yes. Okay, I'm going to write your name down.
This is the part that got me. They're a minority-owned business. We're a minority-owned business. And
that don't mean jack to me.
The way that I perceived the call was that their being a minority was good enough. They didn't have to.
Well, clearly, because if they got to almost to the finish line,
a woman-owned business in their plan, and they thought that they were going to win, and then they were going to be successful.
But the plan called for that from the beginning.
It said it in the first 10 pages
I don't know,
of the
go
RFP.
back to whatever episode where I say, just read everything. Just read it. That's all. Just read it. Here's a classic example of what we're talking about. There's an RFP. There's opportunity. They're targeting small and mid-sized business purposely in this RFP. So there are some things in the RFP as a business owner, you're going to know just what they're asking is probably not, like you said, it's not feasible. I don't want to say it's unrealistic, but it's slightly far-fetched, right? Because sometimes they don't know. They haven't been educated. They're just going by what maybe some big firm told them because the big firm has an agenda to keep little firms out so they can just continue gobbling up all that business. Who knows? And I'm just using an example. Or maybe they're just using an RFP that they got from another department and they just copied the language into that. And we all copy and paste stuff all the time.
Without reading for context.
Right? So, because maybe you're just not familiar with it. You're like, I need a template. So you start with that. So maybe they did that. Who knows what the reason were? Right. But to listen to the individual just complain versus taking a different approach and reading through it and saying there's about 15 things that really don't apply. They're not applicable to a small or mid-sized business. If you're and then going back to that agency individual, the contract agent saying, listen, if your goal is to get small businesses involved, I got 15 tips. I got 15 bullet points for you to help you in this. Because based on this RFP, if you're saying there's a $25 million insurance, you're going to probably exclude 90% of them off the back because that's a ridiculously high number for what you want that small business to do. And that policy is going to cost a small business this if they even can qualify for it.
And that's almost as bad as another call that I got from a competitor that was interested in being a subcontractor to us on some work that was set aside for a woman-owned business.
Right.
Now, Mr. Cope, Waleed, the sneakerhead, he always says,
slight sneakerhead.
GOOGLE is your friend. These folks called me because they were anticipating this contract would be a woman-owned business set aside.
Hey Google, what's the best podcast for small businesses?
So I said, all right, let's go out. Well, let's have a call.
Commerce and Chill.
Let's talk because I want to see where people's heads are and what the potential is to build agency, to build opportunity
Please
together.
Please don't tell me this is a call where they were just like, well, if you want somebody more experienced, you better call me.
So I explained to them that we already had a team. That I had spoken to our team and that we would talk about potentially including them. I said, well, how much of the work were you looking to do?
100.
They said 49%.
Okay, so they want to do the majority of it and still be at.
They almost want to be peers. They want equity.
Right, but they want you to sub, but they only want you to be 1% above, which is the minimum for a Sorry, I said 1%. 2% above, which is the minimum.
I'm like, why
Wait,
you so
you said
greedy?
it's at 49.
49.51.
Okay.
That's stupid.
I know, yeah.
And so then I was like, because what they were proposing just didn't make sense. So at the end of the call, like to try to clean it up and like, do stupid men stuff, no disrespect. They were like,
None taken.
well, if you're bidding on any work and you need more experience, call us. First of all, we've been in business almost 60 years. They ain't. Second of all.
Well, I mean, listen, it goes back to what we said earlier. People want to paint a picture or say whatever they want to say in the moment.
Put baby in a box or in a corner.
But that's fine. But what?
I'm not going in a box.
And and we're talking about women-owned businesses where they get pigeonholed or discounted or whatever the case might be. You need to take that, and I don't want to say like use it as fuel or fire because I kind of get a little tired of hearing that when they talk about.
I use it as motivation.
Right.
Haters, get on your job. Haters, get on your job.
I live with this. Like, don't think this is just happening on camera. Like, this goes on. Anything that comes up in our household and it's related to any hip hop lyric, the song gets quoted right away and the beat drops in our house, no matter what's going on. I live with this 24 hours, 7 days a week, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the life of chill.
So we have a client that's looking for us to make an exit from the podcast to give it on a call to talk about some current business opportunities. But before we leave, we want to leave you with some tips that if you're woman-owned or woman-led, how you can position yourself to flex in your power, to be that woman of power, whether it's working for someone else or working within your own business.
This is why you got to watch Commerce and Chill to the end, because all the good stuff happens right near the end before we run out of time. Here come the tips.
Number one, surround yourself with other powerful women. I was blown away by the number of women whom I knew at the conference before I got there that doing different things. And I was just like,
okay, well, isn't that saying that like you're the sum of the people you surround yourself with or some shit like that?
Like the 5 closest people to you. But
I don't know if I would go with that. I know what does he say, but I'm just saying in general, you think about the people you surround yourself with. Are you really kind of an image of that?
So like the first
that means
workshop,
I'm going to start drinking those iced coffees because Espinosa drinks some shits all the time.
The first workshop I attended at the conference, I sat next to a woman because it was the only seat open and I was late. And she says, Jessica. Now, mind you, with the mask and everything, I can't always put faces
COVID
and
got
faces.
This face thing.
It was someone I
face
had
game is
gone
all
to
messed
college with who is a boss, communication boss at Yum Brands, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, KFC. And I'm like, wow, who would have thought 20 some years ago?
Can I get some Yum coupons?
I got some Yum coupons. Maybe not stuff that you eat, but got some coupons. So surround yourself with other powerful women. They don't necessarily have to be in the same industry. They don't have to be in the same business. They don't even have to be in the same location, but make sure you're getting wisdom from people who are making power moves.
I'm just trying to get a little bit of that power in all the... You smell like new money coming from this conference.
Well, last time you said the underwear smelled, the dirty drawers smell like...
That's opportunity. At the soapbox, dirty clothes come in. That's money to me.
Number two.
Smells like money.
Number two, be very intentional and be able to visualize where it is you're trying to go. So whether it's a corporate track, whether it's the entrepreneurship track, be very intentional about where you're going and what it takes to get there. So if you're in corporate, look at different job descriptions. Shout out to Jess Ross for giving me this insight. Look at different job descriptions. What are the responsibilities? What type of education, training, job experiences do you have to meet that job description? Now, I know some people will say, well, job descriptions are just made up and whatever. Nonetheless, it's a roadmap that you can use. By that same token, in small business, in entrepreneurship, if you're trying to sell, look at people who've sold, read their biographies, read when they're included in magazines like Fortune. They're giving you their roadmap of how they found success.
If you work at JSB or you work at the soapbox, watch Commerce and Chill. Half of what I said would fucking help you to fucking get through the workforce.
So be very intentional about your vision and then read the information that gives you a roadmap to how to achieve and reach that destination. And then number three, I say, just be bold. Like, you can't be a shrinking violet because nobody's going to come to you. There are a lot of women at the conference who serve on corporate boards, and shout out to NASDAQ and Adina Friedman, because NASDAQ is now expecting the firms that list on their exchange to communicate the diversity of their board, and they're encouraging their firms to have at least one diverse, be it a minority, an underrepresented minority, or a woman on their board. Because overwhelmingly, when we say minority, don't really like the term. The people that we call minority typically are in the majority of things.
Fact.
And so,
Minority.
Understanding who's on the boards, who do you need to talk to? Have a conversation about how do you get on the board, because there's a whole business to paid board service, and we're missing out because we don't have those conversations. We don't even know. I mean, like, I had the great fortune to serve on the board of MSA Security, and that company is like our family. It's an extended family. Our businesses are aligned. Our values are aligned. Values are so important, especially for women-owned and led businesses. And so the time that I served on their board, I learned a lot that helped us run the business better, but I was also able to give them insight that they didn't have about their own business. So talk to different people in different spaces so that you can understand those untapped opportunities you may not know about, and may be able to be in a position so that you can grow and lead and own and be the woman of power that you are uniquely designed to be. What do you have to add, Chief?
I can tell our viewers, you can clearly see today is a woman-led podcast where she did more than 50% of the talking, because there are more than 50% of the women in the population.
More than 50% of the population is
women. Okay, get my stats right. But
and women can control the purse.
I'll just add out there, since we're coming to a close here, and special treat for everybody who stayed to the end. 2 things. First is, next episode, make sure you tune in, especially all you small business owners, whether you have it online, or you have a brick and mortar, you're doing retail, or you're doing like online digital products or course, whatever it might be. You got a small business, you're in it, or you're getting ready to start one. Watch next week's episode of Commerce and Chill. We're going to have special guest who's going to be coming to us remotely to really talk about small business marketing. We're going to have my man, Mike Allen. Let me say that again. My man, Mike Allen from Solo Social Marketing. He started his own business, and it focuses on marketing for small businesses. So he focuses directly on like small micro businesses, marketing techniques, strategies, and tactics to grow your business through marketing. So Mike's going to be with us next week. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be packed full of insights and tangible things that you'll be able to take away from the episode and apply to your business. So we're not going to just be talking pie in the sky. We're going to drive the car right into the gully. We're going deep. We're going to dive right in, and we're going to talk about what can you do right away, right after you watch the episode. Click this, do this, post this to start seeing some results driven for your business. So yeah, next week, my man, Mike Allen. Make sure you tune in.
You said 2 things.
The second thing is, I was so excited about having Mike. I totally forgot about the second thing. The second thing is, I'll save it for the next episode.
See you. Thanks for checking in. We'll give you the statistics the next time. Appreciate your patience, and be a woman of power. Check these women out. They're doing great things. This could be you. Peace.